Welcome back to Elam.life. I'm glad you could join us. Today I want to talk to you about the one tool that I think should be in everybody's repair kit. It's this small clamp maker from ClampTite.com. It's one of the most useful tools that I've ever had, and when you need it, you really, really need it. So let's go outside and I'll show you why. So last time we were on a trip, I noticed that my 0G hose had started leaking really bad. This is the end that normally plugs into the pressure regulator. I really like these hoses, but this does seem to be kind of a weakness on it. So today we're going to tear it apart and fix it. I'll show you a really effective way with a simple repair kit that you can repair any hose connection. Though it's difficult to tell where the leak is coming from. So what we're going to do is pull this back, and now you can see the leak is coming from behind that crimp. So either the crimp is bad or we've got a break in the hose there. So what we're going to do is cut the hose off somewhere back around in here. We'll cut this part off and then we'll re-crimp it. We're going to start by sliding this back, and let's go ahead and cut the old one off. And then it's good to notice how these work. And this is the same way that the expandable hoses work. They have an inner liner that does the heavy duty work, and the expandable ones will have a very stretchy one that's shorter than the sleeve. And then of course you have the braided sleeve that's on it. And you can see therein lies part of the problem, where they've got a buckle in the sleeve, and that's why that joint is leaking. Let's see if we can get this focused here. Yeah, so you can see the buckle in the sleeving that was underneath the crimp. This has basically leaked a little bit since we've had it, and it's just gotten progressively worse over time. So I'll go ahead and finish pulling that crimp off, and then we'll get to fixing it. And you got to be careful of sharp edges, but such is life. So here's the problem behind this. Let's get this focused. And you can see right where the crimp had crimped that roll, it's split. So what we're going to do is finish pulling this off, and then we'll get that fixed. This is my clamp repair kit, and I truly believe that this is a kit that should be in everybody's Airstream. It consists of a pound of stainless steel wire, 0.041 inches in diameter, a pair of wire cutters, a ClampTite tool, and a wire nut. And with these four things, you can repair any clamp that you have on your Airstream or your vehicle in an emergency. So let's get started and clamp this hose end back on. In order to use this, you need enough wire to go around 4 times. So there's 1 loop, 2 loop, 3 loop, 4 loop, and then about 12 inches. You're not going to use all that wire, but just because of the design of the clamp, you've got to have some wire in order to utilize the tool. So you pull out all the curly out of the wire. And we're going to be using the double wire clamp style. There is a single wire that you can also do with this, but on these connectors, most nipple type connectors actually have serration on there, and you can, if you look, well, let's see if we can get this close. If you look closely, you can see the serration. There's a bump there with a groove on either side. And with the double wire, we're gonna set the clamp right in each of those grooves. After you've got the curls out of the wire, put the wire nut on the end like that, and then keeping them separate, squeeze it down so you find the middle of the loop there. Then you're gonna take that loop, put your thumb on it and hold it. And you're gonna spin this around and insert it through the loop. Pull it snug, but not overly tight. Make sure the wires are not crossed. That's gonna be real key. You're gonna make another loop around the hose and pull it snug. So you should have something similar to that. Make sure the wires are not crossed over each other. You need them to lay nice and flat. Take your wire nut off and then pull the wires slightly out to either side. Take your ClampTite and you're gonna go underneath the wires there, and there's a groove on the end of the tool that you're gonna catch that loop with. Wires are gonna go over top of both of these and then twist it together. And this twist is what's going to be locking it as it brings tension. So you can see here, I've slipped out of that. So we need to get that nose back on the tool there, on the loop. Just like that. Then kind of hold it as you begin to tighten. And you'll feel it starting to tighten. Stop every once in a while, check your loops, make sure they're where they need to be. We want them to fall on either side of that bump on the nipple. And then as it gets tighter, it'll get easier to tighten. And you don't want it to bite in really hard or you'll cut things, but you want it to be very snug, just like you would a normal clamp. You can see here, we're starting to indent the casing around that nipple. That's gonna be pretty good. And after a while, you'll get the feel for the tension on there. When you've got it to that point, you're basically gonna fold this over. Hard to hang on to that hose. And you can see the nipple bump is right in the middle and you're in good shape. So take your cutters and you can cut the extra wire off and then trim those down to about 1/4 of an inch there. Maybe a little less, about like that. And then take your pliers or cutters and you want to move those down into the center. Oops. So that they're not sticking up. And there's your clamp. No sharp ends. Let's push those down just a little bit more. And it's low profile, so we can come over here and take our original cover and it should just slide right up over that. And there you go, good as new. Could do that in the field relatively easy with a kit. About the only thing you need outside of this kit you should have in your normal travel tools would be a pair of pliers. Needle nose pliers work really good to pull the original type crimp off. And then I like to keep an extra pair of dikes inside the travel kit. I also have a pair with my normal tool kit, but that's all it takes. And I think everybody should have one of these because you never know when your hose or your clamp is going to cut loose. And if you're in the middle of Death Valley, you need to be able to repair it because you can't just run to the next Ace Hardware to get it. So I highly encourage everybody to get this. It's a ClampTite. They can be purchased direct from the company. You might be able to actually catch them on Amazon as well. Relatively easy to clean up once you've got your clamp made. They have 4 different sizes. There's a micro, this is the normal one. They have a medium size and then they have a large size. This normal clamp is probably the one that I recommend because it pretty much handles anything on my RV or my truck without any problems. You can go all the way up to 0.062 on the diameter of the wire that you use. Direct from the company, you can buy the wire in 1 pound bins. You can also buy cases where they have the tools in a zippered case with a little bit of wire, although it's not the 1 pound wire. So highly recommend it. It's ClampTite.com. This is not a sponsored video. I just have this tool. I've paid full purchase price and I really like it. So we'll see you next week.